I think the fact that, I really had to take responsibility for it and really own it, because I think any success in life, you really have to lean into the responsibility of how you got there and
Yeah.
understand how you got there
Yeah.
so that then you can learn to change that trajectory of your life and
Yeah.
be successful because it's such a conscious decision that you're making.
That's
It
right.
doesn't just happen.
A growing health, wellness, and leadership podcast designed for you to become your most empowered self.
Great day, amazing humans. Welcome to the Empowered in My Skin podcast, where our mission is to help 1 billion people in this world think in more empowering ways. Empowered humans empower humans. So you are the right spot to become a lead domino for empowerment today. So let the show begin. Yes, great day, amazing humans. So excited to welcome you back to the next episode of Empowered in My Skin. Today's guest embodies a journey of profound transformation and empowerment, a true beacon of inspiration and transformation. With a distinguished career spanning 17 years in human resources within the government sector and armed with a degree in psychology, she embodies a profound commitment to aiding others. Since 2019, her journey has taken a transformative turn, marked by profound awakening to holistic well-being. She has shed an impressive, and I mean, I'm in the fitness industry, so this is impressive, 60 pounds. We're gonna have to talk about the time frame in terms of how she did that, and achieved unprecedented levels of vitality. Her dedication to nutrition, physical health, and mindset serves as a testament to her unwavering resolve. Hailing from Ottawa, Canada, where I was born, yeah! Don't live, but born. She thrives alongside her loving family, embracing an active lifestyle filled with outdoor adventures and cherished moments by the water. Her personal evolution from self-sabotage to self-mastery underscores her profound insights into the human psyche and the power of mindset. Her expertise, fueled by her own remarkable journey and her certification in freedom from self-sabotage coaching, equips her to help her guide others towards unleashing their full potential. She's talking my language about unleash full potential. Yes,
Yes.
maximum potential. I trust you're as excited as I am to learn more about our guest. So please join me in the biggest, humongous podcast. Welcome to Beth Blackmore.
Oh my gosh, that was amazing. That was amazing. Thank you so much for that introduction. And I'm really honored. I'm really honored that you invited me on this podcast. I'm super excited about connecting with you and sharing in my transformation and hopefully inspiring others.
I love that, and wasn't that hard, to be quite honest, if I could be fully transparent. So for everyone that, everyone's listening, I work with her husband. And one day we were talking and we must've been talking about mindset. And he just casually mentioned that you had a business and you're into empowerment. And I think I might've joked to him and said, oh, I said, well, you have no reason not to show up. Amazing at work. And then I looked you up and I was like, in an instant, I think I dropped your email that same day to my team. And I didn't even have to research you a lot. There was just something very natural about what I believe you're standing for in this world. And it was really easy to see that coming out of your Instagram. And so, yeah, I was really
Awesome.
actually looking forward to not only sort of inviting you on this platform, but I think this whole platform is really about finding those people, those pockets of people that are really into empowerment truly through living it themselves. And they're
Yeah.
just creating the sustainable, empowerment journey, helping others do the same, so.
That's
You
great. I'm glad
embody
that
that.
that came through. Yeah, that is my mission. That is my
Yes,
mission
it's
now.
very
Yes.
evident. It's very evident.
Good.
So I'm
Great.
going to start you off with our opening question, which is what has been your most empowering thought of the day so far?
My most empowering thought of the day, honestly, it was coming on here. This is usually I take Sundays to really relax and be with the family, do some kind of inner work and reflecting, go on my nature walks. And you know what? I thought, wow, I am going to inspire people today on this podcast because I feel like you have given me this platform and I want to use it. And I'm grateful for these opportunities that are presenting themselves in my life. And I thought, this is a big day for me in terms of a Sunday where usually, I'm more reflective, more doing some inner work. And I just thought, this is going to be powerful. This is going to be inspiring for other people. And I'm so grateful to be here.
I love it. And so, and just for just to make sure we're clear, I didn't pick her for Sunday. Like,
You're right. You're right. I picked it.
she self-picked Sunday. And it's very interesting because you and I are very alike. Sunday is typically my detox day, but it is
Yes.
a day of service.
Yes, that's right.
And
Yeah.
I always believe where there's conviction, there's capacity. And so I've allowed my Sundays to, I open up a couple hours to be in service for, what the podcast essentially does. And it's a really great feeder going into the next week, because typically there's going to be something from today that I get to share in my week next week with some other amazing humans. So get ready. Let's get ready.
Awesome. Awesome.
Okay. So I think everything is so foundational. And this first question is really just to help us just kind of understand sort of your catalyst. And that's what it is. It's like, what has been that specific point, that catalytic moment that just pushed you towards, this holistic well-being. And like I said, in your impressive bio, like losing 60 pounds, right? Like what was that? What happened?
You know what? So I think for years, I struggled with a lot of physical symptoms that I was ignoring. So I wasn't
Mm,
listening to my body. I was just going through the rat race of living, being a full-time, professional in the HR world, in the corporate world, being a mom to, two amazing boys, being a wife, and just going through, this treadmill of life. And, this rat race that we're all caught up into. And so for some reason, in January, February, of 2019,
mm,
I started really listening to my body and digging in and thinking,
mm-hmm,
okay, I've got some concerning physical symptoms that have been around for a while, but they're ramping up. They're ramping
mm-hmm,
up in intensity, they're ramping up in frequency. And the unfortunate thing is, I went away on this amazing trip to Cuba with my
mm,
mother-in-law, my sister-in-law, my niece, and I had a knee injury playing in the waves, in the beach, in the
mm,
ocean, because I came down hard on my knee, playing in the waves. And I hobbled around the rest of, the vacation at the resort on this bum knee. And then I started going to physio 3 times a week. I was also having other symptoms, that were really kind of spiraling out of control. I had high blood pressure. I had stiff and sore joints. The sore joints, were really ramping up. Skin and eye irritation, exhausted,
oh, wow.
anxious. Um, I had a lot of anxiety, I feel.
Mm-hmm,
And so all of these things kind of snowballed. So it wasn't just, one thing, but it just
mm-hmm,
seemed like all of these things were really snowballing to get me to really dig in and figure
mm-hmm,
out what is going on with my body. And I think I was thinking the worst. I don't think I'm some kind of hypochondriac, but I was definitely thinking all of these symptoms, besides the knee injury, must have been amounting to something. And I was
mm-hmm,
I was really concerned about it. I wasn't concerned about how overweight I was. I didn't own a
mm-hmm,
scale. I didn't know how
mm-hmm,
much I weighed.
mm-hmm,
Um, but I think I knew deep down, in the recesses of my subconscious mind, that my
mm-hmm,
body, my life was going to have this massive overhaul. And it wasn't
mm-hmm,
until early 2019 did I become ready to own it,
mm-hmm,
to really understand that I had gotten myself into this predicament. And what I realized was, when I dug in and researched these symptoms myself, I realized that it was really what I was doing to myself in terms of my diet, in terms of my unhealthy habits, unhealthy
mm-hmm,
eating habits, the standard Western diet,
mm-hmm,
unfortunately, that I think a lot of us have been lured into thinking it's normal. We're conditioned to eat in a certain way, live a certain way. And my eyes were really open to the fact that, I had been quite unhealthy for many years, and I just ignored those symptoms until they really started bubbling up.
right.
What's really cool though is almost overnight. So once I kind of acquired this newfound knowledge and really started to dig in and understand what I had done to myself, I realized that I was going to be able to get myself out of that situation, that I had control of how I
Mm,
got there, and I was going to control myself getting out of it and
mm-hmm,
feeling a whole heck of a lot better. And to be honest, it really wasn't about losing weight. It was
mm,
honestly the physical symptoms that were really, you know, making me feel like garbage. And I
Yeah.
thought, this is no way to live. Like, if something, finally clicked that, we're given this one life,
Mm-hmm.
and
That's it.
what am I doing with it? What am I doing
Mm-hmm.
with it?
Mm-hmm.
And it honestly was this sense of empowerment and hope that, I could change and I could make a change for the better, and it was going to stick. So I think the fact that, I really had to take responsibility for it and really own it, because I think any success in life, you really have to lean into the responsibility of how you got there and
Yeah.
understand how you got there,
Yeah.
so that then you can learn to change that trajectory of your life and
Yeah.
be successful, because it's such a conscious decision that you're making.
That's
It
right.
doesn't just happen.
Wow. I have so many things came up for me to ask you just to double click on. So
Yeah.
the first thing I'm going to ask is you spoke about this readiness, and
Hmm.
I think for many like let me just, what I'd love people to really understand is that feeling of ready, right? Because sometimes
Yes.
it's not like you're just going to know you're ready or this and I think there's a feeling. So if you reflect back to that 2019 moment, and how you just expressed, I just knew I was ready. Like, what did it feel like? Like, how did you know that was your ready point?
I think because I was super excited.
Mm,
To be honest, I had to understand the body science of it. I had to understand that the food. So I was really going to change the trajectory of my diet and my food choices. And
okay.
so for me at that time, that was getting rid of what I like to call the trifecta of ultra processed foods.
Mm-hmm,
So the sugars, the refined sugars, refined carbs and grains, and the seed oils and the vegetable oils, because that was such a big part of my diet. I didn't realize that that was what was contributing to me feeling so badly.
mm-hmm,
So when
mm-hmm.
I understood that, and when I knew what was to come, so I knew what to expect in terms of, okay, well, if I'm ditching, the sugars and the carbs, I'm
You're gonna
likely an
feel it.
addict.
You're gonna be in
Yeah,
withdrawal.
exactly. Right. And so you learn to accept, okay, it's going to be short-term pain for long-term gain. So to be honest, that moment was honestly excitement, because I had this newfound knowledge that I knew was going to work for me if I
Mm-hmm,
stuck to it, and I was going to stick to it. This was not kind of a quick fix. This was
mm-hmm,
not a magic pill. This was me relearning and
mm-hmm,
unlearning and then relearning what I needed to learn to become successful in my health journey.
mm-hmm. So, okay, so I'm gonna keep you there because
Okay.
that's where I want to go next is that. So the feeling was like you knew that you're gonna actually feel better. There's gonna be some
Yes.
hard work that you're gonna have to do. You start to adjust your eating and making different decisions around. I always say I'm not gonna tell people it's better or worse decisions. You're just gonna make decisions that you feel serve you the best in the best
Right.
way possible. But there's also this thing called our mind. And there's a mindset that got you to wherever you were in terms of what you want to start to now unpack and unravel and this, that, and the other. So can you share maybe just some of the techniques and strategies that because obviously you have a business, it's
Hmm.
informed from your journey. So
Yes.
what are your strategies and techniques that start to come alive for you there? You're like, this stuff works. And if it
Yeah.
works for me, it can work for some other human too. Like what are some of those?
Sure. Yeah, you know what it is? I feel so the mind loves repetition as
Mm-hmm.
well.
Oh my
So
gosh, I'm
so
a
yeah.
preach girl. People don't
So
believe it, but it's so
it's
true.
so true. So healthy, I mean, when you think of habit, okay, so you take the first step, right? Everyone says, the first step is the hardest step. Okay. But if you keep going with those steps and they become a healthy habit, that becomes the repetition. Okay, so maybe that's more action and behavior, but in your mind, right? It's the repetitive thoughts, the repetitive beliefs, me believing that I was going to be successful on repeat in my head. That was also inundating myself with this positive, healthy content. So, it was subscribing to the YouTube channels of this health guru that I was trusting. It was reading the books. It was getting the healthy recipes. It was listening to podcasts. It was,
Mhm,
printing off the recipes that I loved and having them on my kitchen counter every day that I could refer to.
mhm,
It was really deliberate action and
mhm,
being really conscious of the decisions I was making. But yes, first and foremost, it came from my mindset and knowing that I was going to be successful because I was implementing what I had learned and then implementing it on repeat and
Mm-hmm.
making those habits.
Mm-hmm.
So now I know, based on, my coaching program, based on working with clients, based on the knowledge that I've even acquired since my health journey, there are other tools now in my toolbox that have
Yes,
also
yes.
helped to maintain my weight loss and even evolve further.
Mm-hmm.
So even some of the diet protocols that I had adopted early on, I'm no longer doing that
Mm-hmm.
because I've learned more.
Mm-hmm.
So I
Mm-hmm.
think it's really important to keep an open mind, that it's not always about one particular diet, one particular protocol. Sure, they worked for me. It's funny because Sheldon says, well, why wouldn't you promote that particular diet
Yeah. Because it's
to
got to work for the
everybody?
person. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
he says, it worked for you. And I said, yes, that worked for me. But, I didn't have to sustain that strict, I wouldn't call it a deprivation or restrictive, but it was, I'm
You're
definitely more
disciplined. I'm gonna say so.
disciplined.
I'm an
Yes.
athlete and I
Yes.
compete, and
Yeah.
it's just a disciplined diet.
That's
And I
great.
don't even call it diet. It's a disciplined way
Yep.
of eating. Yeah,
Yep. And
yeah,
disciplined lifestyle.
yeah, yeah. I like
Yeah.
that even better.
Yes.
So one thing I do believe, simply because I've been in the fitness world for like God knows how long now. So as you shed the pounds that I always say the pounds that your body didn't need.
Yeah. Oh, I
Yeah.
love that. I love that. Yeah.
Um, other things had to drop off as well. I'm sure of it.
Nice. Yep.
So can you talk to a little bit about that journey, about the environment around you, and maybe even just like how did you make sure you're well supported? And
Hmm.
in reflection now, what are some of the things, could be people, environment changes that you actually had to adjust and pivot along the way?
Sure. So, I mean, my family was super supportive. I mean, I
Hmm.
was the one doing the grocery shopping and the meal planning and the meal prepping and the making of the food. So they were on board because I'm a good cook and I made some
So
really,
everyone got healthy around you?
yes.
Oh, that's yeah,
Yep.
isn't that awesome? Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It was a
Great
byproduct.
byproduct for
Yes,
everybody else. That's like, thank
exactly.
you, Beth.
That's right.
You
That's
go,
right.
girl.
So, I mean, and that felt really good. Like at first, it felt like, okay, I'm penalizing people around me, right?
Mhm.
Because I'm taking things away that they got used to. So it almost felt like a punishment because they were used to eating a certain way. And all of a sudden, that's not coming in the house anymore. And I'm, replacing it with whole foods, but great quality meals and good tasting meals and all that, home cooked, everything. No longer are we, ordering Uber Eats on the way home from work and seeing who gets there first, us or the Uber Eats processed foods. So they were very, very supportive, and they continue to be, because even though they may not be as, disciplined, in certain
Mhm.
areas with their
Mhm.
eating, I feel like modeling this behavior is so important because I think
Mhm.
we can preach till we're blue in the face about a certain way of eating or a certain lifestyle or whatever, whatever we're wanting to share. But until people see us and, see the results,
Mhm.
so I think walking the walk, walking the talk
Yeah,
is so
yeah.
important in modeling that behavior. And so, yeah, I mean, the people around me were super supportive. I supported myself, again, as I said, with inundating myself with, all of this positive content and messaging and relearning. And it really is about reprogramming our
Mhm.
beliefs,
Mhm.
reprogramming our thoughts in any
Mhm.
area of life,
Yeah.
right? Whether we're wanting to level up in the food and establishing that, whether it's the exercise, whether it's becoming a new entrepreneur,
Mhm.
it's we're constantly evolving, and I think again it's about being open to relearning and reprogramming our mind because
Yeah.
it's so powerful.
So you got to a point in your journey, because now I want to sort of push it out to potential clients out there that you have, and even the
Ah,
ones you currently have, right? Because some of them are empowered,
yes.
and my skin listeners are going to turn into clients. We know that.
Yes.
Um, so first of all, you got to a point in your journey where, and I'm going to just like for the sakes of like pulling this point, it was about Beth, right? Beth wanted to
Yeah.
get healthy. There were some, you might even have to share some of the original stats you talked about when you were with your doctor to what you actually
Sure.
achieved today, by the way.
Yeah.
But yeah, at one point it was about Beth, and it was about Beth recognizing and listening to her body and realizing that how you were feeling, you knew you could feel better, and taking
Hmm.
those steps to do it. And then suddenly you got to this place, because I've been in that journey myself, where it became bigger than you. And you suddenly realize that, wow, I have the ability to help other people and to serve from this journey that I'm on. And so what did that look like for you?
That looked like super exciting and something that I had never even thought of. You know,
Mm,
I still feel like I pinch myself the fact that I have lost the 60 pounds, kept it off, feel like I'm on this trajectory of life that's like, wow, like what is going to come next?
next, yeah.
What I love it. And
Mm,
then the fact that I'm able to help other people. If you had told me, so it'll be 5 years, right? It's 5 years ago, exactly, March of
mm.
2019. And so
Yeah.
if you had told me 6 years ago that this was all on the table for me, that I would have gone through this health journey, got healthy, lost 60 pounds, and now help others, like there's no way, right? So I love the fact that people are resonating with my story,
Hmm.
and I love to help people. I really
Hmm.
do. I want to share and impart my knowledge. I don't want to keep it in. I want
Hmm.
people to be healthy and experience the same benefit and the same success as I have. So it's a
Hmm.
pleasure. It's a pleasure to share this information because in some ways, I can't believe how much better I feel
Yeah.
and doing it all on my own and being in that much control of our lives. I
Hmm.
think a lot of
Hmm.
people, we project our responsibilities to others, or we think, it's in our genes, we're destined for such and such.
Hmm.
And what I've really learned is that we have so much more control and potential than we ever thought.
Hmm. So
And
how
and
did you
this
transition from it being a personal journey to, like, you know what, I'm gonna become an entrepreneur doing this?
Well, a couple of things happened. I mean, I was working in government, and I think I think for years I, I think for years I was thinking, is this really, what I want to be doing?
No,
No,
sorry.
no, it wasn't. I was questioning that. And I honestly loved my colleagues. I love the fact that, we were part of job evaluation classification, and I have such amazing memories of working with that team. We were
Mm,
highly regarded, very
mhm,
valued. We were put on all kinds of challenging, projects at my department. And I learned so much mentorship, so much amazing leadership. However, I thought, I don't think Beth is really cut out for this work. It's not firing me up. It's
yeah,
really not firing
yeah,
me up.
yeah.
And
It's pleasant. It's
exactly.
lovely,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it's not. Yeah.
And so to be honest, I mean, with the COVID mandates, it made that decision quite a bit easier. I was forced on leave because I did not comply with the mandates. And I knew that I really didn't want to be a part of the government if my employer was forcing me to do something that I didn't want to do. So
Hmm. Hmm.
that decision to move out of government became easier for me
Mm,
when I was faced with that decision. And it just so happened that I was placed on leave mid-December of 2021.
hmm.
And I had been following Jason Christoph's work, and all of a
Mm,
sudden, one of his posts came up that talked about becoming a overcome self-sabotage coach.
mm,
And I thought, and I've been following him for a while. I didn't know that he had this international coaching school that you
mhm,
could become certified in as a coach. And I thought immediately, that's exactly what I want to do. It just called to me because I
mhm.
felt like we all sabotage ourselves to one degree or another. Some people it's food, some people, maybe it's booze, some people it's financial, they have financial
Yes,
blocks,
yeah,
whatever it
yeah,
is, right? And I just thought I want to learn more about myself through this program and
yeah.
be able to help people with my own experience and then also apply this coaching certification.
Hmm.
So it just almost was a really very natural evolution of Beth,
Yeah.
from being this person that really didn't put myself first, I think, for years. And I think, as women, as mothers, we tend to take a back seat to
Hmm.
our health, our success, our life. And I don't think we really have this vision of what we could become and our potential.
Yeah.
And so when I, was successful with the health journey, and then, what happened with government, I just thought, this is my opportunity. Who leaves government? Who leaves golden handcuffs? It's a gift to me.
Yes.
It really felt like a gift.
Yeah. Wow. Good on you. And I'm hoping that I know, not that I'm hoping, I do hope, because hope is great. somebody today needed to hear that, right? Because I think
Yeah.
everyone teeters on that. Am I really doing my passion work? Something about my
Yes.
life just feels like there should be more. And a
Yeah.
lot of times it's about just facing that fear and just taking that next step. So
Yes.
you kind of touched on it a bit, but this is one of my final questions to you before we get into rapid thrivers. But um, you you and even with the work that you're doing through your coaching, can you help us debunk some of the myths that you have, sort of identify, or maybe people ask you about, like around, weight loss and getting to holistic wellness and just getting to this great disciplined lifestyle? What are some of those top myths that you can debunk today?
Sure, yeah. I mean, I think that, well, first of all, the standard Western diet, I think that the way that that is really promoted is doing us a disservice. So,
Mhm,
um, and the fact that, when you become aware of that and become aware of a possible addiction to sugar and carbs, that it becomes so much easier. So I was a person that always had, snacks in my purse. I was very dependent on food. I feel like I was the slave to food because I seemed to
mhm,
be hungry, between meals. I wasn't
mhm,
satiated. I would be lightheaded and dizzy
mhm,
often. And so I knew it was my blood sugars out of whack. So what's interesting is that when I started this health journey, I knew to expect some withdrawal symptoms, but
mhm,
very quickly, I know that I transitioned to this fat adaptation where my
mhm,
body is fueling off of fat from my diet, but
mhm,
mainly
mhm,
fat from myself that I no longer needed.
mhm,
And so I wasn't feeling deprived. I did not
mhm,
feel that I was restricting myself or
mhm,
starving myself,
mhm.
once the sugar withdrawal kind of left. And that is empowering. Like within a
Yes.
couple of days or a week or two, you are feeling satisfied. You're loving food, you're loving whole food, you're not craving the processed food that you were once addicted to. That's what I
Yeah.
found so motivating and so
Yeah.
empowering.
I love that you say that. I think, and if I could tell anyone to stick to itiveness of these types of journeys, there comes a point where it's almost like if you're still, you can actually feel your body like eating like
Yeah,
leveraging the fat that it doesn't need to like
right.
fuel the moment. Like I don't even, it's almost like as if you're hearing like raindrops just kind of like it feels that way in the body. Like it's just
Yes,
like, yeah. Yeah. So
I
I know
know.
that feeling. Yeah. You just have
Yeah,
to stick to it to get there. Any other
exactly.
myths that you want to, that come to mind?
Uh, sure. I think the other thing is that, a lot of people think, well, hydration, first of all, I think that that
Oof.
is super important, right? The other
Mm-hmm.
thing is, I was probably lightheaded and dizzy because I was also dehydrated. And the fact that, our tap water, I mean, we really need to filter it, but also have, the electrolytes and sodium added to our diet, like in terms of a good quality sea
Mm-hmm.
salt, right? Because those are hydrating.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think you can drink all the water in the world, but you really need to hydrate yourself with
Yeah.
those trace
Yeah.
minerals,
Yeah.
with
You're
the,
right.
with the
Mm-hmm.
sea salt and the
Mm-hmm.
electrolytes.
You can
So
actually drown yourself if you don't.
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So what other myths? Yeah, I think the fact that, you'll feel this restrictiveness when really you feel actually very much in control and empowered. And I think that's where we want to be. We want to feel this freedom, freedom from the fact that we have followed through with the commitments we make to ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
freedom from not being a slave to the food that we've been so dependent on. It's honestly life changing. It is
Yeah.
life altering, and
It's
I
worth
love
it.
to share that.
It's worth
Exactly.
it.
It's totally worth it.
So before I get into rapid thrivers and just to sort of close off this main part of the interview, in reflection, what's something that you can leave the listeners with, as it relates to them getting, embracing and staying committed to like a well-being holistic lifestyle?
I think first it's about your mindset, knowing right off the bat that
Mm-hmm.
you will be successful.
Mm-hmm.
Keep that in mind.
Mm-hmm.
Envision yourself, envision your future self, and
Mm-hmm.
know that you are going to be successful. That's first and foremost. And you will do it. You can do it. And
Mm-hmm.
you're taking those steps, right? But
Mm-hmm.
envision your future self. I think it's so important.
That's one. Anything else?
That's one. Anything else? Oh, I think, in terms of group pressure. So one thing I did find as a challenge. So it's not all like, roses and rainbows here. Uh, Definitely, when you're faced with group pressure, maybe you're out in a social event, a social setting, uh, potluck. I think it's really good to plan ahead, know that
Yeah.
you're going to, be tempted, right? I think it's
Mhm.
preparing in advance. Maybe that's eating a healthy meal before you go.
Yeah.
Maybe that's bringing something to the potluck that you
Yeah.
know that you can eat.
Having in your car, go out there while people are eating inside and you're eating your good.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those are great tips.
I love that you
And
say that because, oh, go on.
I was just going to say, and the fact that you don't have to, you can stand strong, and maybe it's going to feel a little bit intimidating, right? When you have this group pressure, maybe you're not drinking, maybe you've decided not to drink, maybe you decided not to have the chips and the salsa, the popcorn at the movie. And I think it's okay to just say, you know what? No, and you don't have to kind of justify why. I think,
Hmm.
just being comfortable with saying, I've decided not to.
Yeah. This comes to mind, and I'm going to go over a little because I think it's important. So I'm getting ready for a competition. I've been doing this for a really, really long time. And there's like yesterday was, I think there's like this group, there's like 4 birthdays and they're like back to back to back to back to back.
Mm,
And I already knew I made a decision that I wasn't going to eat. We
yeah.
were going to these restaurants. And for me, it's because, and the way that I get through that is like, no, my primary desire is to socialize and to connect and to talk to people, And
Yes.
then not only that, I also recognize that there's there's a way that you can leave people inspired because the truth is they're going to admire your discipline.
Yes.
And that tends to become a tabletop conversation. But I like all of the tricks that you said, like bring your food, have a healthy meal before. I always say step outside, eat your food while they're, show up a little bit later, let the ordering kind of be done so that you're not tempted. But there's so many, it's actually quite empowering when you're sticking to whatever it is, this disciplined lifestyle, because the truth is it's going to empower others to do the same.
Yeah, I love that. Yes, you're setting an example,
You're
you're
setting
modeling
an
the
example.
behavior,
Yeah.
and then they'll be
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, that's why she looks
Yeah,
fantastic, right?
yeah, yeah. And I
Yeah.
know society-wise, we do a lot around food. So it's interesting because I'm in this group and like they started like third Thursday of every month, we're gonna go out for dinner and stuff like that. And everything's around food, And then just the other day, I just posted something about let's go for a makeup class, right? Like I'm going on April, well, this is gonna post after that, but I dropped in this makeup class that I'm going to, right? Like
Fun.
a games night at my house, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and so there's just maybe just you become the person that incorporates, there's other things we could do that don't involve food. Yeah.
Totally. You're
You
right.
know?
Our society really focuses on socializing with
Hmm.
food and drink, you know?
Glorify it,
Yeah,
actually. Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah. So you
Yep,
be the person that brings just something a little bit more into the group, right?
that's right.
So rapid thrivers, when you think of somebody who inspires you, who comes first to mind and why?
Mel Robbins. Mel Robbins, because she speaks truth, she's authentic, she inspires every day.
And she's wicked. 5 second
Yeah.
rule. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. I love her.
Oh, I
What is
know.
a daily activity that helps you thrive?
My hypnotherapy tracks.
Oh.
Hypnotherapy. So I do hypnotherapy in the morning when I wake up before I do my gratitude journaling.
Mm-hmm.
And it's about reprogramming the mind at the subconscious level. So you're in this alpha brainwave state. So you're
Mm-hmm.
awake,
Mm-hmm.
but you're relaxed,
Mm-hmm.
and you're not kind of clucking on the stage like a chicken. Like a lot of people think like hypnosis
Mm-hmm.
is, you're just kind of out of body, out of mind. No, this
Mm-hmm.
is just, you're in alpha brainwave state, which is just the state that you're in when you are awake and you know kind of drifting maybe off to sleep. But
Mm-hmm.
it's this positive audio that's about
Mm-hmm.
20 minutes long. Right now I'm doing one on financial abundance. I have
Oh.
many in a catalog for my clients, whether they're
Mm-hmm.
wanting to get healthy, the perfect weight, ditch the sugar addiction,
Mm-hmm.
build confidence.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's just very, very powerful to reprogram the subconscious mind when you're
How,
inundating yourself.
how's it different than guided meditation, as an example?
It's actually very similar.
Mm-hmm.
This one you're actually There's a couple of different modes that you're getting into. So she'll guide, I'm not a hypnotherapist. So this is a rapid transformation therapy.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're actually guided to get into this more hypnotic state.
Mm.
And there's a couple of procedures that she kind of walks you through at the very beginning.
You have to check it out. I have
Yes.
never tried it. What is a
Yes.
book that has helped you with your Thrive?
Letting Go. Letting
Oh.
Go by David Hawkins.
Mm-hmm.
Just amazing. It's all about, letting go of the fear, shame, and doubt that, a lot of us have been conditioned with, whether it's from childhood, whether it's our upbringing, whether it's society in general. And it's just letting go of the fear, shame, and doubt that often cripples us to move forward.
I'm gonna have to check that one out. An app that helps you with your Thrive.
I'm going to say Spotify because I'm constantly listening to inspiring podcasts.
I love that. Hopefully Empowered My Skin becomes on your playlist.
Yes.
And what is one misconception that people have of you, Beth, as they see you, like even you losing your weight, you now being an entrepreneur, taking that leap to really just step out of the sort of the, I'm going to call it corporate, even though it was government, but that corporate world and stand on your own and have your family, 2 boys, a husband, and thrive. What is that? What's a misconception?
I
It
think
sounds
many
like it's
people,
perfect.
yeah, I think, many people don't know that, there was a past with my family. So I lost a sister to suicide 15,
Sorry.
16 years ago. I think, and that, her issues with addiction, with depression before that really shaped, who I was, but also, you know, I felt I was a victim to my own addictions with food, with stuffing my feelings down with food, with stuffing the feelings of fear, shame, and guilt down, and I don't talk about that a lot. Actually, this might be the second podcast that I've actually shared that.
Wow. If I didn't know, I would have
No,
asked you a little bit more questions around grief and yeah.
yeah. And I feel, that is a whole process, obviously, to, that I have been through. And maybe, right, it wasn't until 2019 that I was able to let go
Yeah.
and take care
Wow.
of Beth.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you for that. So where do we find more of you online?
Online, so I'm on Instagram at bethblackmore.co. I have a Facebook account, Beth Blackmore, as well. And my website is bethblackmore.com.
Okay, and we'll share all of the links in the show notes. And this podcast is called Empowered in My Skin. And as a parting question, can you let me know what that means to you?
So for me, empowered in my skin, to me, I love the word empowered. I think it's probably the word that I say the most often, because I feel like I was someone that, again, was kind of going through this treadmill of life, going through the rat race, going through the motions. I didn't realize that I could feel in control and empowered to become who I am, but also who I'm going to be. So empowerment to me is about evolving. It's about learning and growing and self-development. And it's a work in progress,
Yeah.
and it is about owning our destiny. So
Yeah.
owning the actions we take every single day that is going to result in who, that person is that we are on track to become.
Yeah. Wow, that's beautiful. Thank you so much. And
Thank
thank you,
you.
and thank you again
Yeah.
for saying yes and sharing your energy and sharing your wisdom on this platform. And I trust that everyone that's listening, you've gotten some nuggets and you've gotten some inspiration. And Beth, I just want to thank you. Thank you for leaning into the world the way that you do and just being this beacon and light of empowerment, right? And creating, being a lead domino because you are
Thank you so
impacting
much.
other people. Yeah.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that so much. And I'm so honored that you asked me to come on here. I
Of
appreciate it.
course,
I love your
girl. Of
energy. I
course.
love your fire. I love it.
Of
I
course.
love it all. Love what you
This is
do.
not it. This is not it. There might be some more work that we'll get to do together. So
I'd love that.
to everyone that's listening, sadly, this is where I have to say we're out. Bye-bye. There you have it. I trust that you're feeling more empowered in your skin. And as the late Dr. Maya Angelou says, when you get, you give, when you learn, you teach. So it would mean so much for us at EIMS if you share this episode and tag us or teach an insight that you learned from today's episode on your socials and tag us. And remember to go over onto iTunes and leave us a review or follow us on socials at Empowered in My Skin. But most importantly, don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode.